Let's get some music booted up. Whoop, let's rewind that a little. Perfect. Okay. So we got that. We got PNG tuber up and ready. Cool. Just gonna shrink that a little bit. Okay. Perfect. Okay, we are live. Let me get my Twitch chat all set up. And we're back. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry that I was not live last week on my scheduled day. How terrible, I know. But we're back and we've got a new little character model that I've created here. I guess not technically a new character model per se, just a new character outfit for today's stream, which what I'm doing today is just a little bit of some DM prep. I've been getting things ready for creating what's it called? Getting just like some different NPCs and characters and story concepts ready because I'm finally getting back into playing some Dungeons and Dragons. So that's what we're doing today. I'm getting some little character sketches done for that. Super excited to be back into that also. But yeah, I'm so sorry that I didn't get to do some streaming last week. I just had to take a little me time, was hanging out with some friends. So not too sorry about it because I definitely needed it, but I am still kind of bummed that I didn't do what I initially planned to, which was staying up to speed with what I was having to do with like my art streams, because we've been getting a lot better viewership as of late, which I'm super duper happy about. And also, if anybody that happens to be one of my players jumps into this stream, just know we're doing some behind the scenes stuff, so don't be upset if you get a little spoiled. But for those that aren't playing with me, I'm happy to have you here as well, because I would love to get some concept ideas. Also, please let me know. I just recently got everything reset up for what's it called? Like for all my audio tracks and stuff like that, so I can play some copyrighted music. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, finally got some fun music. So hopefully once we hit affiliate, I can do some song requests and stuff like that. But yeah. Oh, I don't want that on. Okay. But I hope everybody's been having a good week so far. But yeah, the character that I'm currently doing a little bit of art for is this little guy right here, the name Soren Sunrise, a little artificer Knoll, because I've had to come up with a kind of new way of DMing, because I had a campaign I was running before that's kind of unfortunately had been put onto a permanent hiatus. Should I give him an underbite? I think I should. Yeah. But yeah, so the last campaign I was running unfortunately had to be put on a permanent hiatus just due to just some unfortunate scheduling issues, which, you know, that kind of stuff happens a lot in D&D. For anybody that is familiar with that or has played a lot of D&D, you know that that's something that can happen. But I'm not too upset about it, because this new concept that I have for a new like Adventurers Guild style thing that I'm going to have running is essentially my players are going to be a part of this scrappy Adventurers Guild called the company or whatever is going to be called like Sunrise Scrap, and it's going to be this little company that's stationed in Underdark. And this guy right here is the guy that like founded it and created it and all that fun stuff. And then give some eyebrows, because I love me some good dog eyebrows, little canine high eyebrows. I love when dogs have those little expressive eyebrows. Although he looks kind of angry. I want him to look friendly, so I'm gonna give him round ones. A lot rounder. And give him a little cheese. Awesome. And then but yeah, so my players are going to be a part of that little adventurers guild. That's technically created by this guy, but there's this other character who is this fighting drow lady that's going to be super duper cool, and I have a bunch of different inspiration. This image right here is, I think, the biggest inspiration that I have for her, and she's essentially going to be the black cat to his golden retriever energy, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, so essentially the way that the campaign will run is that every single session, you know, whoever's going to show up can show up and they'll be there. And I'm essentially going to run it where every single session is essentially its own self-contained one-shot. So I'm excited about that. And then I want to give him dreads because, come on, Noel with dreads. All right, let's see. And then, honestly, I think it'd be fun to have him have some like little accessories at the end. Yeah. Sweet. Nice. And then do they have like, the fur's pretty smooth in the end. I don't know if I should add some little tufts on the side or not, because it makes it almost look more like a lion. So I think probably not. And I should also give him some, oh goodness, some classic artificer kind of like little protection goggles. Have those hang around his neck. Sweet. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna have him look like such a friendly Knoll, because that's one of my favorite things in D&D is what's it called? I love subverting like the traditional story expectation of like, oh, you know, scary monsters that are actually just a cool little guy. And then we'll flip this again just so I keep doing that. But yeah, I'll give him some dreads. Let's see. I feel like his neck should also be a bit longer, so we'll move this half of him down a bit more. Yeah. There we go. But yeah, I'm really excited for having like getting that all set up for a new campaign. But yeah, essentially every session's going to function like its own individual one shot, so that way I will just have a scheduled day within the week. Knowles! Hi, Jewel. Yes, I'm talking about my new D&D campaign that I'm going to have set up here with all these cool new people I've recently met and befriended. And so I don't know why I didn't come up with a concept like this sooner, but essentially I'm going to kind of run it where like you know, you'll have like a D&D like little cafe or something like that, and they'll have D&D days where you can just kind of come and be in a session or whatever. I'm essentially going to have it function like that, where every single time you come to the table, because it's an Adventurers Guild type thing, it'll be something where it's like whoever shows up for that adventure. And then that way it's not something that's so trapped by like a linear storytelling style, because a lot of, you know, the people that I'm playing with or plan on playing with all have these extremely different schedules and stuff like that. That way it's like, since each session is kind of self-contained in that way it's just like everybody can still keep playing. So it's like, I'm very excited to have that kind of be the setup and overarching style of what I'm going to build for this campaign. So exciting. Are you playing or DMing? I will be DMing. So the characters, the NPCs that I have set so far is this Artificer Knoll, who is essentially like the founder and creator of this what is it? This like adventurers guild that functions in the Underdark, like the headquarters for it is in the Underdark. And the way it got created was essentially there because he's like a scavenger, like, gnolls are these scavenger species. He started it by just kind of like going around and finding all these different adventurers that had like died in the Underdark and like took their gear, and being an artificer he like would repurpose it. So the overarching purpose of the company is like, okay, we're gonna go and have you do these really low starter missions of just going and scavenging items, and then he repurposes them, sells them on top side, like on just like the general material plane in Faerun. It makes money that way. And so the business has grown because now they have enough resources to actually send people out on like actual commissioned missions and like quests and shit. And then so what I love is the dichotomy I have for the NPCs I currently have is that he's the guy that essentially started it conceptually, but I'm going to have, this is the main inspiration image that I've found recently, but I'm going to have this drow lady who essentially is like the black cat to his golden retriever energy, where it's like he has these great ideas, but she's the one that actually like manages it and makes it happen and like finances everything and like keeps track of all the funding and like resource management, everything like that. Hello, welcome to chat. Lost Yugen. I don't know if I've seen you before in my chats, but welcome. We are just working on some stuff for a new D&D campaign concept that I'm working on. Just drawing up some doodles and stuff like that. Love the vibe in this stream. Thank you. I'm a fairly new streamer. You're new? Well, welcome. I'm Radley. Radley Works total username, but I am a fairly new streamer. I am trying currently to hit Twitch affiliate so that way I can use all of these wonderful resources that I've made as far as like Twitch redeems and stuff like that. And eventually once I hit Twitch affiliate, I'm going to create emotes on stream, all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, me too. I'm essentially a perma DM. Essentially, I am a perma DM, as you can see from my little avatar. This is just one of the many versions. Well, not many versions, but one of the 2 versions. Just followed. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. This is amazing. I'm sure you're gonna make it. I appreciate that. Yeah, right now I'm just kind of working on sticking with a good schedule and trying to maintain some viewership because I've hit all of the benchmarks except the average viewership one for hitting Twitch affiliate. So just keeping on the grind and stuff like that. I've had a lot of amazing support from a few different art streamers. And so, yeah, so my, as you can see from the little icons for all the socials that I kind of have as my main ones, my Blue Sky is where you can find me for any of the like final images and stuff like that I draw, stuff like different finished assets and stuff like that. Like this is my socials banner that I did on stream a few weeks back. I've mostly just been working on Twitch assets for when I do hit affiliate. But yeah, I've just tried to like start focusing on some of my own personal projects and just keep up with it. I at least try to stream at least once a week. That's this day, Wednesday, from 2 to 4:30 Mountain Standard Time. And if you follow me on Blue Sky, you'll be able to see like an updated schedule because like I get my work schedule once a week, and so I try to stream as much as I possibly can while still leaving room for stuff like playing D&D and going and doing trips and stuff like that. Heck yeah, you go. I'm working on getting serious on streaming, but right now I'm doing it just for fun. I rarely stream art though, kind of scary. I'll leave a follow on Blue Sky. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Anything helps, sticking around, lurking, anything like that. But yeah, I'm hoping that, by eventually hitting Twitch affiliate, one of the like reward redeems that I really want to have is like a drawing quest redeem, where essentially I can have people redeem something that they want me to draw just to get some more drawing experience under my belt, because I definitely want to get better on the technical end. And so being able to have people send me stuff that they want me to draw definitely can get me out of my comfort zone, I feel like. And then if maybe eventually getting enough traction that I could do some like commissions and stuff like that, because I have very much enjoyed like making my little PNG tuber and all their different little outfits and stuff like that. So it's something I've definitely fallen in love with the more I've been drawing. And it's something like just doing art socially on like social medias and stuff like that is something that's like I'm familiar with, but I'm still fairly new at. That's amazing. Also love your art style. Very, very pretty. I appreciate that so much. I'm definitely getting to a much more confident point within my art. Like doing stuff like this. I think I did this on stream. I'm not sure actually, but like stuff like this, like one of the things I want to focus on is really just utilizing streaming as a way to get better at my own art and like my own sense of style and stuff like that, to be able to make a name for myself, to maybe do commissions for people or be involved in different like little projects and stuff like that. But yeah, it's something where like I know that I struggle a lot when it comes to a lot more like final rendering stuff. But I feel like I have a pretty good confidence in my sense of like lighting and proportions and shadows and stuff like that. Because another one I did fairly recently, I actually did this on stream, was this one where I started to actually utilize like a somewhat more of my own personal style, where that was just, you know, pretty simple base colors, and then like the like icon, I think I worked on this on stream as well, just that like super very almost comic book like, not even rendering, just like blocking out of like where light and shadow is. Yes, Jewel, you are on a level of rendering that is absolutely scrumptious. I aspire to get to that point where I can hit that flow state casually. But I think this is something for me that like, because a lot of the media that I consume on the visual end is a lot more, I'm obsessed with like concept art and like, you know, 2D animation and stuff like that. So this is something for me that it's like, I definitely know I could improve my technical skill for a lot of different things. Like, I think this image, it kind of shows it off, just like the fact that I do struggle with some realms of rendering, but I do have a pretty confident sense of like the concepts of rendering and like lighting and everything like that, and sense of space. Like there's things that I'm definitely a lot more confident in as opposed to rendering. So I've kind of developed a style that allows me to kind of get away with that, where it still upholds fairly well. I also love the whole persona you got going on. Very unique, very Hugo King. It's okay. Line work raises my cortisol levels, as the kids are saying. I've been seeing that so often. It's so funny because I genuinely do. I love line work. Like it's my favorite because it's like then I can just go in and just plop colors in super nicely, which makes me super duper happy. Being able to have like being able to kind of hit that flow state in when I do line work and stuff like that. But yeah, like I've like, this is another one where it's like the line work and stuff. Like I've started to kind of experiment with that concept of like thicker line work and like blacked out shadows, almost like how older comic books used to do it. I'm the opposite. I can't stand line art. It's interesting. Honestly, I love seeing the diversity of like where people enjoy doing what they're doing. Yours is very delicate though, very, very yummy. Yes, eat. I'm happy to provide a buffet of art. But yeah, like I have a lot of different things I've been working on. Just as far as like stuff that I want to do when it comes to like technical art improvement. And then just like personal art projects and stuff like that. Or just things for fun, but a lot of stuff tends to go back into the realms of like fantasy and D&D, which is why like, you know, I even like when I was doing stuff for Art Fight, literally all of my Art Fight references, all of my characters are all just different D&D characters that I've created over the years, whether it was for one shots, or what was it? Let's see. I'm gonna skip this one. Okay. But yeah, so like literally everything that I've ever done that I genuinely feel pretty confident in as far as like creativity always somehow links back to like fantasy and D&D stuff. What's this one? Oh yeah. So like that's something where I definitely, what is this, the final one? Oh no, this is just a sketch. I really like that sketch. But yeah, so like that was something. I'm also just going to show this off because I love this little exchange from last year's Art Fight, which that is something I'm so excited to eventually get started up again. Yeah, Art Fight. I have like two D&D characters. My baby's, oh my gosh, I love that. The little dragon is so pretty. Thank you. Yeah, this is I don't know if you're talking about the character or if you saw like this one. Like this was someone's, I think this was actually someone's D&D character that I drew on Art Fight. This one I was super happy with because I kind of experimented with a sort of lineless style, kind of. I was really happy with that one. I think, yeah, because these were my first art fights I did. And then these ones are the most recent. I'm really, really, really happy with this one. Just kind of that simplified coloring style that's not too over rendered and just kind of being a little more confident in that. This one was another one I was super duper happy with as well. Oh my gosh, I never noticed that those claws were screwed up. Oh, that sucks. Hold on, I'm fixing that right now just for myself. I didn't ever even notice that that had gotten messed up like that. Oh, that sucks. That's awkward. Whatever. Does it matter? No. Am I still gonna do it? Yeah. But yeah, this was also someone's D&D character that I drew. That looks intentional. Not gonna lie. French tips, honestly, with the reference that I had of this character, yeah, they would. The contrast of colors is amazing. That's another thing that I'm very like happy with is like a good having. I feel like I have a pretty good sense of like nice visual colors, because like once again more D&D concept stuff. This was my partner's character in the campaign that I had ran previously, and so they had requested, they were like, hey, could you make an NPC that's basically just you so I can romance them? And I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make it symbolically and narratively flavorful. So I made it this like little guy that has a lot more cool colors in his color palette versus most of the warm colors that they had in theirs. Also, side note, the way you make noises is so cute and unique. I love it. Oh, noses. Oh, noses. I was like, oh, that's something you'll also know too if you know me in real life, is that I kind of just make cartoon and comic book sounds out loud with everything I do. Hold on, I gotta clear my throat. Oh goodness. Okay. Yeah, that's something honestly that has just kind of leaned me into wanting to do more furry art, is like the fact that all of the noses that I do on humans is just kind of like that little square thing that's going on. I think there's a bunch of other drawings I have in this. Yeah, this is old art from, well, not even that old, but some fun little warm-up sketches. But yeah, I don't know when I started drawing noses like this, but it's definitely something I'm glad that I've kept it as a stylistic choice, because it's something I don't really see all that often. And I'm trying to have a little bit more variety with it as far as like the nose, like that style of nose, like if the length, depending on like nose shape, I can make it a little shorter, I can make it a little wider, and kind of have that be something that indicates the nose difference, because noses are a very, very personalized thing. But I think that's why I've been drawn to furry art so often, is because like most noses on creatures and animals are pretty standard. It's amazing seeing how much work you've done. Makes me feel inspired. Not gonna lie, I'm supposed to be drawing right now, but I can't explain, I swear. Yeah, honestly, that's kind of why I have been really getting into art streaming and like following other creators, because like the idea of like casually co-working with someone has been something that's been very entertaining to me, and an environment that I really want to create is like just allowing whether you're watching me or engaging with me or just having me on in the background to encourage you to get into that your own creative state. Oh, not the right pen. That's fine. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. I don't know why my throat is. Oh, hopefully a little sippies will help. I know, right? It's amazing. It's like drawing with friends makes it so much better. And that's so real. Literally, like some of the best, like the most I would always end up drawing was when I was in high school and like going to art school as an animation major. And genuinely like I had some pretty quiet but like still very prevalent anxieties when it came to like my technical skill versus a lot of other people's technical skill that I knew and was surrounded by in school. But it was something that I think got kind of quieted and didn't really ever stop me, because it was like we all would just get into these nice like flow states of like, we're all just drawing and doing our own things. So, and it wasn't ever really a comparison or a contest because we were all in very, we were doing very different projects involved in very different types of art sometimes. Because it was like the arts where it was like I had people that were in theater that I was friends with, I had people that were in like music classes that I was friends with. So it was something where it's like that got quieted in my mind pretty quickly because I was like, oh, we're all doing our own things. So that's something where it's like I've been really wanting to kind of recreate that environment with my own platform because like, whoopsies. Why did my streaming program decide to do that? I don't know. Hold on a second. Is my iPad or not iPad? My computer is not overheating. It should be fine. Hold on. Finals, including animated shorts, graphic design, and fursuit creation side by side. Literally, it was that was like my favorite environment to be in. Was just we're all just kind of doing our own thing, and that really just did. Let's see. I'm on the right Wi-Fi network, right? Yeah, this should work. Hold on. Start mirror. Start broadcast. I don't know why this is being finicky. All right. Okay, cool. Oh, there we go. Sweet. Okay. Don't know why that did that. It does sound amazing. It really was that. And like, again, that's kind of been the inspiration for what I've wanted to make, as far as like my own little art community here. And who I've like wanted to get connected with as far as watching other art streamers. Let's pause a little big. That's better. But that's kind of been the main inspiration because like I've tried to, utilize stuff like, what's it called? Like TikTok and Instagram, like before they had gotten as bad as they are because of like all the AI BS. And it was something where it's just like, I couldn't really like, I had such a hard time like having stuff that I would feel confident enough to post because most of the stuff, like literally as I was going through all the stuff here, like most of the stuff that I have is like, it's mostly like sketches and like concept art and stuff like that, which it's like realistically I could post stuff like that, of course. Just like these little conceptualized ideas and concepts, but my brain is always going all over the place and I never really feel like I have anything finalized. And so I never really felt as confident within the realms of like how I wanted my like social profiles to look. But then when I started learning about like art streaming and stuff like that, that was something that spoke a lot more to me. And something I've been like, I think I've wanted to do for so long, but I just was never like stationary enough because of like I was constantly moving around, that now I finally am in a place where I can be stationary for a bit and able to actually like commit myself to creating that platform, because a lot of what I see within the realms of what's it called, just like art streamers in general, is that a lot of them are just working, whether it's, on their like paid commissions or stuff like that, or like their personal projects. It's still something where it's like a lot of what you're seeing, usually what you're catching is never even really the final work. It's always stuff that's work in progress, depending on how often you watch somebody or keep up with them. And so that was something to me where it was like, especially having experienced being in an environment where that was the standard of just like, you're just around people that are just kind of in that work in progress stage. That was something that's like, I want to continue to build that, not just for myself, but also give the opportunity for other people to have some access to that. And it's like, of course, there's already a lot of people that, that do their art streams and stuff like that. But it's something that for me, I also saw as a really great opportunity to keep myself kind of in a mode of operating where I was drawing more regularly, because I started to fall out of that, and it was something I was noticing and kind of getting a little worried about, where it's like, I don't want to stop drawing, but I need to have, not necessarily that I need to, but I think a big help for me would to be have something that would help keep me consistent with drawing. And art streaming kind of just seemed like the no-brainer, and something that I have very much fallen in love with and could totally see myself doing long term, no matter what I end up doing. Oh, streamer bots advertising my coffee. I didn't realize it would do that. Do not feel obligated to donate to me. I am still working on getting like commission prices and stuff like that set up. Yeah, it works a lot. Not gonna lie. I think this, I don't know if that was in reference to what I was saying about the bot or what I was talking about before, but either way, but yeah, I've just been really wanting to create just an environment that, like, quote unquote worst case scenario, where it's not even like a worse, or like worse isn't bad, just like the bare minimum that I wanted when it came to doing this was essentially just, I want to have a platform for me and to keep myself consistent with drawing, because sippy. I want to get better in the technical field of my art, as far as, you know, being able to render and like draw backgrounds and do things that I know I'm not as strong in. And also be able to have a platform where it's like, today I'm doing stuff for my own technical personal project, where it's like I'm making stuff for, you know, a pastime. Like, I'm not getting paid to do this, but it's still something that I really care about a lot, because I see how much it feeds into the people that I DM for, and how much they enjoy me creating those opportunities for them to like, you know, play D&D and everything like that. So that's something that I've been very excited about, and like even just making like, I've been going through a lot of my like digital assets that I have, because I'm a huge supporter and lover of like people that make D&D, specifically 5e. Like, I'm gonna die on the hill that I will always play the original 5e, not the 5.5 or whatever they're calling it now for the most recent version of D&D. And no hate to anybody that does play that version, but I'm going to be that old man that will only ever play 5th edition, because like, that's literally everything that I own as far as physical content is for that version of the game. I'm aiming to be a mangaka man. I can count the background I did in my whole life on one hand, and now I got to do them so often. Yeah, and that's something too, where it's like, depending on if you want to, like, depending on what field you want to go into, as far as any kind of creative career, that I'm fortunate enough that I've gotten to go to school for animation. I've gotten to work, like I have in my portfolio file here, like I've done a lot of, like, when I was younger, I did a lot of graphic design stuff for my like community and stuff, and like poster designs for people. And I've even been fortunate enough to work with this wonderful young woman and design stuff for her, as far as like her business cards and stuff like that. And like conceptualize a lot of the stuff for her platform and like her commission sheet as far as her business. So I've gotten to be a part of a lot of really cool stuff. And then, you know, all my stuff for school, as far as going through the production pipeline and kind of learning that where my strength, or at least where my preference lies, is in the pre-production stages of things. We play with our own rules. I played D&D in English once. English isn't my main language. It was an experience for sure. Oh, wow. Yeah. And like, that's another thing that I freaking love about starting to get more involved with like online, like this form of social media. Cause it's like, again, I have a TikTok and an Instagram that at this point are just kind of serving as an archive for my art, because of just all the BS going on with AI. But it's these three fingies. No, yeah, three fingies. Okay. And then make the paw a little bigger. There we go. we go. Boo AI, boo. Yeah, boo. We do not tolerate AI here. And it's so fascinating observing people that are like about anything are just like, well, I'm not one way or the other about it. It's like, no, like fuck AI. I'm not gonna be here tolerating that. Like genuinely it's something where it's like I'm always open to having the conversation in the realms that, like, you know, before it became something that we knew, like a newer technology that we were aware of how bad it was, because like artificial intelligence is something that has been around for a pretty long time, but where we're in now in the like the age of, like, you know, generative AI being a problem and being able to have the conversation of like, hey, there's a lot of people that I've interacted with that I've had the conversation with that are like, you know, they will admit it's like I did use it or whatever it was, but it's like once I learned and understood how much of an issue it was, not just in the realms of like, oh, it looks bad or whatever, like, or it's something that is not like appreciated by artists or something like that, because it's very, very soon, and scarily very soon, that is something that is not going to be a definitive argument anymore as far as like, oh, it doesn't look good, because it's a technology that is going to learn extremely quickly, and so soon that will not be a valid argument for it anymore. That's kind of been something that a lot of people default back onto. AI should not be something that is public. I don't know how much I can say here on Twitch, but people have been generating really bad things. If you know, you know. How is it okay? Exactly. Like, what's crazy is I remember being in my like art class, and we were watching the Adobe Live broadcast when they were announcing the new, like, just the very basic starter features that were coming out to stuff like, you know, Photoshop and stuff like that. And I kid you not, all of us art kids were all sat in there, and as soon as the Adobe Live ended, like there was other technologies and things like that they had featured, but when they I think they finished with that, and when they had gotten done and we like the broadcast ended, we all it was so quiet, we were all just kind of looking around at each other, because as art kids we understood immediately that it's like this is being advertised as something that already we can see the issues with it on the creative side, but this is a thing that's going to be extremely dangerous to be able to have this just in the hands of the public. The only way I can ever allow AI is in the medical field only, because AI can be useful. It really can, but is it worth all the water that it's used to generate a cat dancing? Come on. Exactly. Like at the end of the day, it's like the ultimate argument for it is that it's so bad for the environment. It's like we do not have the resources to be able to be just messing around with the technology like this. Like this is something that should have stayed in the workshop, should not have been brought out into the public yet, because the reality is we don't have the bandwidth for it. Like literally my partner, they're going to school as like a political science major right now, and that's something that they're working with an internship right now that is through the Sierra Club, I think it is. And one of the things that they're campaigning for, or at least in this region that we're at, that they're doing the internship with, is to help, like, apparently there's like this coal plant that is supposed to be closing down, that they're trying to extend it and keep it going. And they're like basically trying to like hold these, you know, political officials and these like higher up officials to like stick to their word and actually start making progress on new renewable energy sources. And one of the things that my partner had figured out was like, dude, they're trying to put an AI data center in Denver, because I live in Colorado Springs, and so that's something where it's like a lot of the environmental work that they're doing right now is something where it's like they were able to put two and two together of like they're trying to potentially have maybe one get put here, and are trying to have it be something under the radar, and us doing this kind of work to keep them accountable would kind of put a barrier in that before they can even start laying down the groundwork. And I was like, dude, the work you're doing, like already the work they're doing is extremely, you know, like it's something that is extremely valuable, but even more so when they were able to connect those dots of like, we're also unintentional, like intentionally, but both intentionally stopping something even worse from happening by keeping them accountable to the bare minimum for now. We don't need AI for art. It's not art. It's literally stolen. Ooh, you go, partner. Exactly. But yeah, so like, and that's something where it's like they're on the end of it where they're seeing a lot more of the official sides of things. And for me, it's something where it's like, because of being in so many different fields and knowing so many different people, that it's like I'm extremely well aware of it in the realms of what I have the capacity to do to keep people informed and have open conversations about it with day-to-day interactions, where a big thing I think that happens is that people will instantly like get upset at a person that sometimes, usually unknowingly, is using those kinds of things and not realizing the impact that they have, and then are immediately getting thrown to the wolves because it's like, oh, you're a terrible person. It's like, no, 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 no. Like, if you're doing that and if you're aware of what the issues are, that's a different story. But if you're using those things and are unaware at the impact that they have, it's something where it's like, I think, as especially I think within the realms of the art community, after interning for local government, can definitively say it's way more than an artist issue. Exactly. That's just the crust of what the conversation starts out as, to make people aware. But the reality is that it's like, this is something that affects everybody, not just creative industry people. Like, if you don't know, you have the chance to know and change. It's when you know and you still do it that it's bad. Exactly. And that's the line where it's like, I try to be very understanding with people, because again, a lot of people just don't know and don't understand. Like, I recently had made a friend who, once we'd gotten to know each other a bit more and they knew I was, a fairly serious artist as far as like the commitment that I have to it and the admiration that I have for it and how involved I am within the realms of just wanting better things for the creative community, they were honest with me. They were like, it was something that I did use that I thought that I needed for a while. And, I've come to a better standing of that. I understand just how bad it is. And I understand, from multiple different realms of like, they're also a beginner artist and stuff like that. And so being able to see it from multiple angles, it's like, no matter what you stand on, it's like, the resources that it takes, no matter how it's being used, whether it's for something that seems inherently good or bad or whatever, the resources are still being taken up, and it's not worth the output of maybe something good. That it's something that we definitely, I think, should put on the back burner as far as developing it and putting it out into the public. But it's also something where having those kinds of conversations, it can get very tiring, I think, especially for me, and being aware of how bad it is across the board. That's another reason why I think I started doing stuff like this, because I want to be able to have conversations about it, but I also want to be able to make efforts to step away from it, not in the sense of like taking a neutral stance, but more so understanding that I'm doing everything that I can. I am spreading information where I can and keeping peace of mind and developing and devoting myself to continuing to make art. Because like, it's that concept of living well is the best protest. That it's like, yes, there are going to be these people that use it and I have no control and all that stuff. But it's like, well, okay, let me recenter myself and realize that the best way I can keep moving forward is devoting myself to making a nice platform and a nice thing, that I don't let that discourage me from continuing to create things myself. Because that is the ultimate loss, I think, is that, seeing how discouraging it is for people that have already devoted themselves to it or eventually want to devote themselves to a creative, maybe not even a creative career, but just like a creative interest, that it feels very disheartening. But that, if anything, I think inspires me to want to make things and improve my skills even more, because at this point it's like, it is literally, art is becoming a lost art. Like, this kind of thing is something that it's like, a lot of people are not, that could have potentially devoted themselves to a creative career, might not, because of all of these easy linear paths of just producing a product instead of experiencing the process. At the end of the day, all we can do is let people know and keep making art. Exactly. I'm seeing it with my own eyes in my own city. Yeah, it can be a pretty discouraging thing. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, the whole thing of like kindness and persistence to be good is the real punk rock. That it's like, I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea that continuing to do the things that, you know, we know are inherently good and that should continue to be upheld in face of all of the things that are happening. Like, sometimes that's the best that we can do, I think, for our own independent and individual sanity. Of like, it's super easy to get caught up in all of the BS. And sometimes, you know, taking a step away from it and choosing to do and devote our time to something different is the best thing that we can do. Do need to make this guy's proportions a little different. Distort. Yeah, gotta make his legs a little thicker. And then they go that way and then that way. There we go. I live in Italy, in Florence, of all places. Wow, that's awesome. One of the most famous art points in history. Here, art is treated like trash, quite literally. Oh, wow. They try to discourage you from making it at all. Art schools suck here. That's actually kind of crazy. Oh my gosh. I never even, oh gosh, is that, yeah, that actually, see, like that's something that it's like, it could be extremely discouraging, but if anything, I feel like it would almost make me want to do it more, in spite of that. It's like, I'm not going to take the easy way out. I'm not going to just allow that to be a thing. Because like, there's so many people that I think dismiss art so quickly because they don't realize just how integral it is in everything. Like, everything that you have, an artist needed to be a part of that process, you know, whether it was, or at least in past years before companies started just using generative AI and everything like that. But, you know, I think about it in the sense of like, even like not even non-commercial stuff and non-traditional creative fields, like medical research books and like textbooks and stuff like that. And like, you know, engineering blueprints and, you know, maps, like all of these things that are a fairly standard and like not really thought about concept in our day-to-day life. It's like, there was an artist that had to think about how the interface was going to be set up or how these things were going to be symbolized. That it's like, art is everywhere, from, you know, the shape and design of a soda can to, you know, the ads in a magazine. Like, it's not always traditionally where you think it's going to be, that it's like, oh, it's not that big a deal. It's like, it is that serious. It is, but thankfully we're stubborn and we'll still make art everywhere. We are not going down. My whole city is made of art, by art, with art. Everything is art. Everything is old and beautiful, and yet the evil government tries to put us down. And, you know, again, that's like that ultimate form of protest. I know art is so important. Art is everywhere. It really is. It really is. And like, one of the things that I like, there's this one anime I've recently, newer anime that I've caught up with, Gachi. Seriously, one of my easily top 5 favorite animes now, and I've recently started collecting up the mangas for it as well. But it's something that series delves into that concept, that it's like, even in the face of like, you know, sheer despair of environment and doom of a situation, it's like, people will still choose good experience and creating art, you know, in everything, whether that's good company, good food, good music, like, even in like the indomitable human spirit, you know, just that idea that even though this situation sucks, you know, like, we are aware that it's a bad situation, that doesn't mean we're going to stop trying to create things, create art, create good experience. I love it so much. I'm so happy it's getting known more. Yeah, it's one that, yeah, it was fairly new on my radar, but I instantly, like, hearing the different types of music and stuff like that, and seeing really, really good cultural representation and variety is something that honestly, like, that was the thing that attracted me the most. Like, obviously artistically it's gorgeous, but it's still something that it hits so many different notes that speak to me on such a personal level that it is definitely a series that I highly recommend for a multitude of reasons. But definitely that concept of, continuing to create and make things authentically and humanly, and trying to inspire others to do the same and stay determined in even in the face of discouragement. Genuinely, that manga is so important, and the fact that two artists came together to make it makes it so much better. It's all around. Anytime I watch anything, whether it's about the actual content of the story or the art itself or about the creators or the cultural significance that it has, all around amazing series. Highly recommend. But yeah, it's something that, again, it's super easy. It's easier to give up than it is to fight. And people hear fight and it's like I think people immediately jump to negative connotations within that. It's like someone's way of like fighting is not going to look the same as somebody else's. And trying to be able to understand the variety of options that you have, that sometimes what quote unquote fighting looks like is choosing your own peace and choosing to live well despite the circumstances or people that might want it to be otherwise for you, no matter where on the spectrum of existence that you might be discouraged from it. But yeah, and so for me, this is what that looks like. Devoting to myself is making, continuing to be creative and making things and giving people opportunities to, interact and connect through something like Dungeons and Dragons or through art or anything like that. That it's like, it's just continuing to create opportunities for authentic human connection. That, like, that's my way of doing that. And it's something that I've been really happy with. And so it's like this, like, one of the things that I had noticed when it came to like progress, when it came to social media, is I get really discouraged on the more traditional platforms like TikTok and Instagram, because it was like I didn't feel like it was something that really spoke to the way that I created. But Twitch has been a platform that has spoken to me very, very well, and how I like to create and how I like to have these kinds of environments and situations where it's less about the final product and more about actually trying to create authentic connections with, individuals or a community, or other creators. It's a very cool thing. Should I give him a little no, I think he looks better with a more, not even clean shaven, because he's covered in fur, so it's not technically clean shaven, just smoother fur texturing. Yeah. Cool. But yeah, I'm excited. And so, like, in the meantime, this is just going to be something that's going to let me have a platform to keep me committed to drawing some things for myself. And then eventually, once I do hit that point of becoming Twitch affiliate, it'll be an opportunity for me to create some fun assets and different things for my streaming platform specifically. He's looking great, though, coming along very well. Thank you. And that's something too that I've been so like happy about, is the fact that I'll just be like talking and like kind of losing track of what I'm doing, and then I'll like glance back at what I'm drawing and be like, oh dang, there's just a guy there on my screen now. Which, like, why do people deprive themselves of the awesome experience that is just the superpower that is art. Like I can just think I want to make this thing, and there he is. And then okay, hyena tail. It's just kind of like a low, yeah. Just kind of like a coarse tail. There we go. All right, and he's an artificer, so he's going to have lots of little trinkets and gadgets on him. I also have to draw a little version of him. I especially love the hair, so yummy. Yeah, I instantly knew for the two NPCs that I was making that this little Knoll hyena guy was going to have some dreads. And then what I'm going to do is for the drow character, I'm going to give her, when I draw her in, I'm going to give her these like very fine, like, if I can just sketch a little head real quick. I'm going to do these like super duper fine braids, like on her head, and then have them all get like braided into a super duper long braid that's like almost like a, what's that one character from Arcane? Like a super long like Jinx braid. But just one. I'm not going to give her two, but yeah, I'm going to give it something like that. With a bunch of those individual smaller, I think, what are they called? Cornrows? I think that's what those are called, that style of hair. I just thought that would be a style of hair that would look, it looks so cool. And just, I think would be something that would look so unique with like the fact that like drow have white hair. Yeah, I see the vision. I bet it'll look fantastic. I'm excited, yeah, because I'm gonna have her be this like almost aesthetically and energetically like the God, what are they called from the Dora Miche, the like the woman warriors from Marvel's Black Panther storyline, that she's gonna like the weapon that she's gonna have is gonna be, she's gonna have some throwing daggers and then like this really cool looking spear. And I just think about all the really cool like drawings or moments that I could illustrate with her and like these super duper powerful like positions and motion and how her hair would react to that. Yeah, no, that's literally the dynamic I'm going to have for the two of them, is that he's essentially going to be the chaotic good, like ray of sunshine that is the boss. And she's going to be this like fairly unassuming, like very quiet, cold, calculated character. And a detail that's going to tie them together that eventually will be revealed to my players is that like a story element, like a character detail about her specifically is that her, so let's see, let me draw a little figure real quick. So her lower half of her legs were issues in an accident where they basically like they got crushed off. And so that's how he found her, was in that state. And what he did, essentially being an artificer, is that I'm going to have it revealed at a certain point, because I'm going to have her kind of look like this, where she's wearing this kind of like long pantsuit. And what is going to eventually be revealed, if she ever needs to basically get called, it's like a last resort into a combat, is that she has these two lower half of like I forget what they're called, but it's like she's got legs, essentially bottom half of her feet, that were built by him. And so they're essentially going to function as something that is going to make her a much more powerful like spear fighter, because I'm a very big nerd. And so when it comes to stuff where it's like a weapon that uses your full body, your power and your stance in your legs is something that attributes to the power of how a spear gets used. And so that's going to be something that we'll see, is the fact that her, like, the way her legs are going to function, almost essentially in the same way that, like, from, once again, referencing Arcane, the way that, like, Savika, her arm, her first model of her arm, that, like, each thing could rotate independently. That those legs that he built are essentially going to function the same way, where it's like she can literally turn 180 on, like, shift extremely dramatically, and has a much higher, like, movement speed because of those enhancements. And so, like, that's where their character interaction is going to be so interesting, because it's like, you know, here's this very, like, cold experience, like, super powerful killer lady, yeah, girl bossing to the max, essentially. So she's essentially going to be this character that, you know, you're gonna, when the characters are first gonna interact with her, they're essentially gonna wonder, like, okay, how does she tolerate him? And it's gonna be this kind of reveal of, like, oh, like, she got saved by him, and is something where it's like he, like, totally is chill with her energy, in the sense that it's like he's gonna have this energy where it's like, you know, you don't need to be as happy-go-lucky as I am. This is just how I operate for me. And I admire and I respect the fact that it's like you're able to keep up with the finances and you're able to have everything run so smoothly, and I really appreciate that. And so it's like, it's going to be that classic black cat golden retriever energy for the two of them. And it's something too where it's like, I'm not going to have them be romantically involved at all, that it's like, it's going to be a very, like, strong platonic bond, which I think is something that I've always enjoyed, those kinds of character dynamics in media, the ones that it's like, it almost feels more like a extremely strong, like a found family dynamic. Those are the kinds of dynamics I've always been more fond of. And that's essentially what the whole guild that I'm building is going to be based off of, is like, you know, like one of my favorite Marvel medias, or like superhero medias, is stuff like X-Men, or like My Hero Vigilantes, that recently came, well, not even recently, but has had a newer anime adaptation. Just concepts where it's like, you know, it doesn't have to be this romantic involvement, that there is something much deeper, where these are both species that, like, on outside of the Underdark, or even in the Underdark, are, like, have discrimination against them, or whatever it is, that it's like, rather than succumbing to those evils and those horrible systems, it's like, okay, cool, well, I'm going to use your positivity and your crazy ideas and your drive on both ends, and then her, you know, super big brain, super methodical and organized brain, to essentially create a haven for all those different types of people that might be not have any other place to go. And so they created a business out of it. And so it'll be really interesting to see how that develops when I DM, because it's like, because I'm having it be something that's going to present as a lot more loose fitting, as far as like, it's not going to follow a traditional linear storyline, but there will still be these moments where it's like the world around them still continues to move, and there are stories that are here that it's like, once my players knock on those doors and see what's behind them, that it's like, yeah, there's going to be a really cool narrative around here that you can interact with when there is downtime, or when you're not doing and going out on a job to go fight some cool monster or investigate some cool mystery. Yes, they don't always got to be in love. Thank you. Exactly. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for a good, you know, interesting, like, romance or relationship story. Like, I'm a sucker for those as much as the next one. But when it comes to, like, for me, because I'm DMing this and I'm creating the narrative and the story and the character interactions, it's going to be something that it's like, because I have more control over that. Actually, I'm really happy with how that turned out. I'm going to keep that in the corner for reference for when I draw her later. I just realized that I was looking at it, I was like, that's pretty much exactly what I want it to look like. I just need to draw the details in a little better. But it also draws, I think, a bit from my own real life experience, where I have a very extremely good relationship with my older brother. And not to go into too much detail, but he's technically my half brother. And so, you know, we didn't grow up in the same household together, but we had known, like, we'd been around each other at, like, family events, and, like, knew about each other and kind of stayed in loose contact. And a few years ago, we had the opportunity to like essentially like live together in the same quarters, and the relationship that we had made created between each other, as far as how like because we were both the oldest siblings in our respective households, and like the type of experiences that we had had outside of being around each other as we grew up, and then reconnecting, that is a bond that it's like, you know, he is my family, but he is also like one of my best friends. And so it's like experiencing that kind of dynamic is something that it's like, to me, that is sometimes just as valuable, if not even more so valuable than like certain romantic connections. Because at the end of the day, it's like there are things like you could have the most, and this is nothing like, I have an amazing romantic partner. I've interacted with people and heard stories, and like there's some really great, amazing romantic partners and romantic partner stories out there between, you know, real life and media. But as someone, like for me in my personal experience, it's like I've moved around a ton, and so a lot of my bonds lean very heavily on my family and those and like human connections, because I didn't have I didn't have one specific environment to call home. That it's like I started to create a sense of home within people. And so that's something where it's like that's where my main reference comes for creating dynamics and stories like that, is that it's like I'm drawing from an extremely real place of like the people are the thing that stays constant. Like even in this little campaign concept that I'm making, as like, okay, you know, every session, whoever's going to show up is going to show up, and they're going to do something new and different and wherever it's going to be and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like I wanted to really focus on creating a cool and a very strong sound narrative for the characters that are going to be consistent. And so like that's why I'm starting with the guy that runs it, and then the lady that's essentially the one that actually runs it. But they have such a healthy dynamic that it's like it's not going to be a dynamic where she's in the shadows and he takes credit for everything. It is quite literally he is just having a good time, and she needs that in her life, and he needs her to be there to help it function so it continues to exist. It's very cool dynamic, one that I'm really excited to see how my players are going to interact with. And then let's see, we'll give him some nice cool clothes. Let me see what I have for reference. Yeah, because I really liked these like shoe-ish wrap things that were going on with this, like this drawing. So I'm gonna kind of do something like that. Let me lower this a little. There we go. Nice. Well, thank you so much for interacting with me so much and showing me stuff. Had lots of fun. Got to lock in and work now, but maybe I'll hop on to say hi every now and then. Good luck. You got this. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the follow and for sticking around for so long. Like I said before, Blue Sky is where you'll be able to see updates about when I schedule any bonus streams, but you'll be able to find me, should be able to find me every single week at this same time, Wednesday, 2 to 4:30 Mountain Standard Time, if you ever want to come by and say hi. But yeah, thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. All right, let's see. Should I have these be less wrap and more just cloth? I don't know. Bye-bye. Maybe. Let's see. Okay. What else is there for options? Because he could just have his Pete's out. But I feel like he would have them protected just in case he accidentally drops like a tool or something on the ground. Because, oh man, dropping things on your feet hurts so bad. So I'll have some like, almost like boxer tape on his feet. Yeah. Something like that. All right. And then probably have him have some kind of like apron-ish thing on, because like there's like a pocket I think that would be up here for like little bits and bobs that, yeah, if you had like little screws or little pieces just kind of chilling out in there. And then a little tie around. And yeah. So that way, like I'm obviously talking in a way that it's like I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to any form of like building stuff like the like artificers build as far as like gear work or anything like that. But I figure you'd want to have an apron so that way your clothes didn't get too messed up. And then I also know he would probably end up having a bunch of pouches and stuff on him. What are they filled with? Probably some snacks. Just little bits of jerky and things. Okay. Yeah. And then he definitely would have some good gloves. Because gloves are important in this kind of work. Oh, dang, I forgot to ask them if the music was running properly. Oh, well, I'll ask somebody else if whoever's here, if the music's coming through okay. Because I think it should be. All right, and then let's see. Probably, okay, apron. And then, what else? Maybe some like an undershirt, like one of those like tight fitting little undershirts. Yeah. And I'm gonna make sure he keeps a good amount of muscle mass showing through. Cause like I feel like he's moving around a lot of heavy machinery and different things. Yeah. A distinguished gentleman as far as gnolls go. All right. And then I feel like he needs more little trinkets and things on him because he's got his hair. Oh, I definitely should add some little earrings and things to him. Hold on. Earring. Earring. Yeah. I think they should each signify something. He'll probably have a matching earring, I feel like, with her. Yeah, we'll just give him a singular little hoop for now. Yeah. Okay. And then we got his goggles. I do feel like he should be probably should be missing a chunk out of one of his ears. I feel like he seems like the kind of guy that would have accidentally blown a chunk of his own ear off or something. So we'll take out like that chunk. Yeah. Little chunk of his ear blown off. That works. And then what else can I give him? What else do I feel like he would have? We got some pouches because I don't want to overcomplicate his design, but I also feel like he would have a lot of little things. You know what? I bet you he would probably have Just maybe some like patchwork done on something. Maybe like his apron, like a little patch that was having to get sewn in that he had to fix up. Right. Honestly, I feel like it might be better to keep his design fairly simple because I feel like if I ever draw him in any kind of like more illustrative sense, he's going to be very much surrounded by a lot of overcomplicated stuff. So I think keeping his design fairly simple. Let's see. Yeah, I think this works. And then he's definitely going to have one gold tooth, one gold little fang. Yeah, little gold fang to match his tooth, which honestly, if that's the case, I'll have it be on the opposite side so it balances out a little better. A gold fang, and then let's design his goggles a little better. There we go. There we go. And then it's got that there. Yeah. Got to make sure he's safe. I feel like enough of his stuff blows up that he takes safety seriously between his goggles and his. Yeah, some simple goggles. Oh, you know what? I bet I could just kind of color this in like this. There we go. There we go. Yeah, some little goggles. And then what else can I have him wear? I'm also going to check. Oh, that got very close to my mouth. Let me see how the stream audio is coming through. Okay, sweet. The music's coming through just nicely. Perfect. Nope, not story. I want to go back to my chat, please. There we go. Sweet. All right. I'd say we have a pretty good design down for our boy Soren. What else can he have? Yeah, he's got some little gloves. Got some little pouches. Got his little apron. Yeah, I feel like the environment season are going to be the overcomplicated part, and his outfit's going to be pretty simple. Yeah, I feel like he'd be the kind of guy that's a little more invested in having fancier tools than a fancier fit. But he still keeps himself looking nice and clean with them cool locks. Yeah, okay. That's pretty good. And then we'll duplicate that and mask. Okay. I hate having to erase all the cool anatomy I just did. But it must be done. Oh, so sad. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I don't even care. Oh wait, no, that shows up still. Erase that. Okay. There we go. Big hyena lad. All right, now time for the cool drow lady. All right, new layer. All right, and then she's gonna stand about this tall, because gnolls are fairly large, I think. Yeah, he's gonna be the big teddy bear to her slender but deadly form. Not even slender, just more lean. She's definitely gonna have a good amount of muscle. Because his power more so just comes from having some heft. Hers comes from having precision strike. I'm also gonna darken his nose. All right, and then for her, it's definitely going to be having a lot more sharp features than your boy. Actually, you know what I probably can do is actually put on a symmetry tool because I'm going to have her standing at attention. Drawing guide. Symmetry. Cool. Okay. Nope. Yeah, very sharp. Probably a much sharper jawline, honestly. Not that sharp. Hold on. Yeah. Some nice little short ears. Well, drow are elves. Would it be interesting to make her like a half drow? Ooh, actually, that could be a good story idea right there. Bum, 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 bum. All right. I might make her a drow, a half drow. Have her backstory be tied to the fact she's half human. Maybe that's something. Actually, I'm starting now. The more that I say that, I actually really like that as a concept for her. That, like, yeah, honestly, I think I'm gonna go with that and give her a little bit shorter half elf style ears. Yeah. Yeah. That's why she's ostracized, because she's not human enough for humans and not drow enough for drow. Yeah, I'm liking this. This is good. Yeah, she's gonna have extremely sharp eyes. Nah, hold on. Hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm liking that a lot actually. And then let's see, Drow. Yeah. And we're gonna have her having a matching earring with her boy because she's a softie. Oh wait, actually, I can't do that because it'll smear. Hold on. Okay, let's just focus on the basic elements that we need to. So yeah, she'll have a pretty lean and like strong form. It's got a. She's thinner, but she does have muscle mass. So yeah, she's gonna have very strong thighs and like probably yeah. And then her legs. Hold on. They'll be cut off about there, so she'll have yeah. So then we'll draw on some prosthetics. That's what they're called, prosthetics. Couldn't think of the freaking word. This is just going to be a loose sketch for now because I want to actually do some research into some actual prosthetics so they look correct. Hold on. I don't think that's right. And then I'm going to move her up. Oh, hold on. Magnetics. Bam. Okay. Just to move her up for a second so I can get the proportions right. But yeah, so oh, oh, hello, YouTube. Oh, please don't tell me that my laptop's not that hot, right? Oh, it is a little toasty. Please don't crash. Please don't crash. We good? We're good. We're fine. Hello? Let me try and reload it. Music, come on. You are not that toasty. It's fine. You're fine. You're not. Laptop, please. Okay, exit the page. Okay, let's try and get the setups differently now. Okay. All right. Let's see. Playlists. Okay. I guess it just something else was an issue. All right. Whatever. That's fine. We good. Okay. Music's back. All right. Yeah, we're fine. We're good. Okay. Cool. All right. Back to drawing the lady. All right. So yeah, she's definitely gonna have a lot of good muscle in her arms. Not that thin of a neck. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Actually, proportioning this a little wrong. This needs to be a little smaller. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Actually, it might be better to do it like this. Yeah. There we go. She is going to be such a cool character in my campaign. All right, and then yeah, we'll have her. Now the question is, do we want it to be a high braid or a low braid? Okay. Ba, 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 ba. Da, 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 da. All right, yeah, so she'll have those. Yeah, it's essentially going to almost have like a ball joint in the ankle. Okay. And then I think I can move her back down now. I'm going to move her to the side a little bit, though. How about there? Okay, and then, nope, I wanted to do the drawing guide. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And then oh, whoops. Yeah, she's gonna be the actual showrunner as opposed to his goofy ass. Oh, I cannot wait to play them in a scene together. Oh, that's gonna be so fun. Yeah, but she'll definitely have a much more dangerous presence than he does. Even though he is much bigger than she is, I'm definitely going to set the tone very early on in any character interaction with them where it's like, oh yeah, he could easily demolish somebody but just chooses not to, and she just wants the excuse. Give her the excuse and she will take it. Oh, I'm so excited to eventually start this campaign because I can't wait to all the freaking memes that are going to get generated out of it, that and like inside jokes. Yeah, so yeah, and her tighter braids. Just getting the shapes down. And then yeah, it's going to be a very long braid. Honestly, probably to like right here. Should I draw it? Yeah. Oh, actually, I want to show off the length of it, so I might do that actually. Yeah, like the little braid segments. Yeah, because I want to show off the length of the braid in this drawing of her without. Yeah. But yeah, these won't be revealed until later because I'm going to put pants. Drawing assist with that color because yeah, she's going to have. Yeah, she'll have that and then nice loose fitting, intentionally so, pants over that. Yeah. And then she's also going to have a little earring to match with her boy. And then honestly, I think I might actually keep this here as a way to show off the braid in more depth. Okay. And then I'll do her eyes. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I'm thinking a half drow, half human will work well for her. And then this braid, I want to change the positioning of it a little. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. I should thin this out a little more. No, hold on. Okay. So it'll go like that. And then like that. With smaller at the end. Yeah. Hold on. Ooh, I got deja vu just now. Right where I'm supposed to be. I don't think it's curved enough on this part. Gotta distort it a little. Yeah. Cool. Okay. And then I feel like she'd have some tattoos. That would probably be an assisted thing. What would she have for tattoos? Maybe like a little. Hmm. Nah. I think she'd honestly have some like little bedazzlements. That'd actually be a kind of funny detail if like it wasn't even him that wanted to do the earrings, it was her, but everybody thinks it was him. I actually kind of like that more. I'll give her some cool little arm bracer things. Oh, am I on the right layer? I am not. Hold on. Yeah, I'll give her some cool little arm bracers. And then maybe even on this side, I'll have her have like a fancier earring. What is over here that I'm not grabbing? Oh, freeform. There we go. Okay. Yeah. And then she'll have like a super fancy looking one on this here. Wait, how about this? The little tassel at the end. Yeah. Something fancy. Or maybe just like two little triangles, little spikies. Yeah. Or like little diamonds. Yeah. That's cool. And then I'm also going to draw some hands for her because I feel like she'd also have some really cool like rings and bracelets and accessories going on. So I'm going to draw a hand for her. Yeah. Okay. And then a little arm. Oh, wait. Yeah. Actually, it's going to be the full arm because she's going to have some bracelets. Yeah. So then we'll just duplicate that, flip it. This we can't turn magnetics back on for, so I can have it be even. Okay. And then we'll move her down some. And then we'll move him over a little bit. Yeah, look at this duo. Oh, I like this a lot. I love the visual duo going on here. Dude, this is crazy. Okay, it's 3:46 now, so we've got a little less than an hour before stream is over. So I'd say we're at a good place right now. So yeah, so let's do some accessories on her fingies. Okay, she'd probably have... Honestly, I'm not even going to do this with drawing assist because, yeah, so she'll have one on her middle finger probably. Ring on her middle finger. Oh, whoops. And then one on her pointer on her left. Oh. Yeah, one on her pointer on her left. So that's... Yeah, I should probably write that down, that this is the... Yeah, this is the left and this is the right. Basically as if she were like putting them down on a desk. Okay, and then we'll have that she's got bracelet on this hand. She'd probably be, I feel like she'd wear a lot of like gold accents. It's probably be a bit of a thinner bracelet so it holds tight. Not really feeling these armband things. Let's see. Maybe having them be like some... Yeah, something like that would be a little better. Yeah, okay. And then, okay, for her left, maybe... Let's see, we'll look through more stuff on here to get a good idea for some other accessories. Because I just want them to be some accents. I do know that I would want to have the bottom piece of this be like some gold accent there, gold accent on the shoulder piece, and then on the collar. Maybe, hold on. Nah, just the top. And then let's see. She does look super duper cool, which I like. Okay, and then more flashies. Let's see. What else do we have? Ooh. Ooh, that's a funky, cool looking bracelet. I'm still feeling like this earring should be a little extra. Something like... Yeah, something kind of like this. Yeah. No, I don't know. Mona Musa! Hello! Welcome, welcome! Just working on some character designs for a campaign that I'm planning on DMing and I just wanted to get a good idea for visuals and descriptions for the NPCs I'm going to have for that campaign. Have you been? I am so bummed I did not get to. Not that I didn't get to. I just unfortunately did not stream last week on the day that I should have. But I think it's okay because it was just taking some me time. But we're getting back on the grind, and I'm extremely happy with how this looks so far. I got to be honest. But yeah, trying to map out some of the fun little accessories for this character because I want her to have some cool little flashy jewelry bits and stuff. So I'm looking through some of the stuff that I have saved for inspiration for D&D stuff in general. Because like I don't want to go overboard with the stuff that she has, but I also, oh, you know what? I bet you she would have. Oh yeah, I'm like trying to design. I'm doing good. Got another person I like, so I've been getting hella teased by my partners. And honestly, that's so real of them, you know. You know, I might give her a necklace or like a tighter fitting necklace, maybe like some almost prayer bead type things to break up the sharpness. Yeah, that does look pretty nice. And then like a piece that comes through here. Something like that, like a little hand or something, a little hand charm. Yeah, because like there's a little hand charm that I feel like could work for that. Something. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I kind of like that. Or even, I don't know. I'm just kind of getting stumped because I'm like, I don't want to overdo it. And that was the same thing with this guy, this little Knoll character right here. It's like, I don't want to overcomplicate the design, but I also feel like I want to push it a little more with some of the elements. Let's see. Maybe we could have just like a little, yeah, it's got the pants. Maybe just like maybe some patterning. Maybe that's what we'll go a little crazier with is some of the patterning on the cloth. But as far as this little earring, I definitely want there to be some fanciness with this earring that I have here. Oh, this character has some cool stuff and accessories. Yeah. Oh, you know what? That might be it. Is like one of those rounded, or even like have it be a sharper collar piece. Yeah, something like that. That looks actually pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Okay. That looks nice. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, and then for this dangly earring, we'll do. Maybe it'd be better to have her have two little pieces coming out of the top of her ear. Would that break it up a little better? Kind of, maybe. I feel like I'm getting there. It's just something. We'll work on this little piece instead for the. Would she? I don't think she'd have nails because she uses a spear. I feel like nails would get in the way. Maybe like a little something like this for her hand. Yeah, something like this. And then nah. Yeah, I think just the rings, the bracelet, and then maybe like a gem piece kind of thing for the back of her hand. Something like that. Nah, it's too flashy. Yeah, so we got the bracelets. Yeah, I don't want anything way too dangly because she's got the flowy pants. But yeah, and then yeah, it would be pretty tight fitting jewelry, I feel like. Nothing too loose. Ooh, you know what? Actually, I think I have an idea. It's gonna be one of those like, yeah, like kind of fits around the round part of the ear. Oh wait, is that being mirrored? No. Okay, cool. Up a little higher. Yeah. That feels better. I like that. Okay. And then for the stuff on her hands, maybe I love those ear clips. Yeah, I'm like trying to figure out because I feel like a fun dynamic. So the vibes of these characters are essentially so this guy is an artificer Knoll, and she is a half drow like fighter. I don't think I'm gonna confine her to a class. It's just that her main choice of weapons is gonna be like throwing knives and spears. Yeah, I finished him. Well, not even finished him, but just like got the concept design down pretty well for what I want him to look like. Um, I wanted to keep his outfit fairly simple because I want him to kind of have the energy that it's like he's not too picky about his clothes and more so like is going to have like a lot of like flashier stuff when it comes to like the gear and the tools that he uses and all the stuff that he makes being an artificer. And I want to have there just be this like allusion to the fact that like he has a matching earring with her, and where I think most people would think he would want to have all the trinkets and stuff like that, that she's going to be the one that like in that same like cat energy vibe where it's like she is quietly like a sucker for like fun little accessories and jewelry and stuff like that, and is like a big fan of like having a bunch of little gold accessories. So yeah, I figured out how to finally get my music set up to where I can have my own music playing rather than just non-copyrighted stuff. And so I literally spent like I have like over 100 songs, and a lot of it is like Splatoon music because like the semi like language slash not really like kind of made up language of like the octolings and inklings, or not inklings, inklings, is really perfect background music for me because it's like something I can kind of just like vibe with but not to get too caught up in the lyrics because it's just kind of almost like sim language. But yeah, that between that, like this is a perfect fusion of like between Toby Fox music and Splatoon music. Perfect pairing for my ears. Have you heard of Risk before? Maybe. I don't know. I'd probably have to look into that just to double check what it is. I assume that's a game, right? Or no, maybe that's Rust I'm thinking of. But yeah, so okay. So we have a ring bracelet. Risk is a song artist. Ooh, I'll have to look into that. Maybe add some of their stuff to my Twitch music rotation. Let's see. What other little things can I have for jewelry? Because I don't really wear a ton of jewelry. So I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I could have like a 2 of a ring on her pinky to add some more. And then, nah, actually we'll do, um, oh, you know what? I could probably do something similar. Really cool song I like is World Yearning for an End. It's chiptune-ish. Ooh, I love some good chiptune music because it's like makes for perfect background music. Just stuff that can kind of go on. Ooh, you know what? Actually, I think having some kind of piece like this and have that connect to here. Just kind of making stuff up as I go, but wait. Hold on. With like a tie off here and here to a bracelet here. Some kind of like holy symbol or something. Reference, or well, I had the hand there before. Maybe just giving her extra bracelets will be good enough. Yeah, just 2 bracelets. Keep it simple, not overcomplicated as far as the textures, but still. Yeah. That works. And maybe I'll add in some symbolism for what each of those things means in the future, but just kind of have them be placeholders for now. Actually, I'm going to go nag you to check if it out now if you want to. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's listen to that song you recommended because I can do that now. Because before I'd have to do it later, so I didn't get a copyright strike. But okay, World Yearning for an End. Let's listen to it. World Yearning for an End. All right. Risk. Okay. Boink. Ooh. Oh, that's like more piano than chiptune. Maybe the chiptune part will come in later, but oh, all right. Ooh, this feels like, oh, what does this feel like? There's a very specific vibe. Like a Geometry Dash level. That's the energy that I'm getting from this. Something that has a pretty heavy bass in the background. That's like, because I play a lot of rhythm games, so that definitely, my brain instantly latched onto that. Ooh, I like that. Okay, that's getting added to my playlist. Save that to Twitch Jams. Ooh. Oh my gosh, there's like 5 different genres that this song could technically fit into. Hell yeah. I love how it's like a fusion of so many different things. Very animation. I can see an animation being to something like this. You know, no, you know what this is making me think of is like a Metaton battle where it's like sounds very like perform like with the piano. It sounds like it would be like something that Metaton would like perform to and dance to, but also with like those like more techno sounds referring to them the fact that they're like have their robot parts. It's very cool. I like how it keeps bouncing back and forth between a lot of different kind of styles. That was cool. I like that. Okay. Let's see. What else? What else have they made? You said their user is Risk. Right. Asterisk album. We just listened to that one. Oh, Welcome to Archive. We'll just start going through this whole album, I guess. See if we'll throw anything else into the mix. I'm loving how they're holding that, keeping that piano there. That's really cool. Yeah, and then yeah, she has her legs. Okay, so let me mask. Where's mask? There it is. Okay, and then erase where this part is. All right, go back to the drow inspiration. Here we go. Okay, and then erase some more of that. Oh yeah, and then let me turn the assist off so I can erase this for the earrings. Ooh, this one has more strings than piano this time. I like that. All right, this looks pretty good. All right, now I'm going to add in some more cool stuff to the pants. Maybe. Let's see. What other design elements can I add to this? Maybe like a little belt piece or something. Or, hold on. What else is there? Ooh, you know what? Maybe I could make some like clothing slits. All right. Let's see what their other. What's up? What's the vision you have for her? Good question. Let me hold on. I want to check out. Where was that before? Playlist. View full playlist. The vision I have for her. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Oh, shuffle play on. Cool. All right. For her, so the overarching story between the two of them that I have established so far is that I've kind of decided through this stream that she is a half drow. So she's half human, half drow, which I'm going to have it that's a extreme, like it's already within the world of D&D is an extremely taboo thing for just drow to be a thing. And in general, as far as like interacting with stuff on the surface. And so something that I'm going to have be kind of part of her backstory is, so if you can see here that I have these are not actually, so these are actual, oh my God, I just said it a second ago, prosthetics. So the way that these two characters, I'm going to have it that they met within the lore is that she was in some kind of, not even caving accident, that I'm going to have it be that, very, very tragic backstory for her is just that, the fact that she's half drow and half human is that, she's shunned by drow and humans. So it's like she's not able to really fit in with either sides of her heritage because of not being full one or the other. And so at some point she tries, and is kind of caught between two slides, both narratively and literally, where she's trying to either escape out of the Underdark or retreat back to the Underdark, and she ends up getting stuck in some kind of avalanche where where the bottom half of her legs get crushed. And him, when he was younger, that's literally what the business is that they created, is Sunside Scrap, where the business started because he has made it a business to go and find, dead adventurers and corpses in the Underdark because of people that adventure there that don't understand just how dangerous it is. And so he made his business that way. And so on one of his little routine rounds of going to search for people, he found her unconscious but still alive and managed to save her and built her prosthetics and built her new legs. And so her whole thing is that he kind of reignited that spark in her where she, didn't think she belonged anywhere or deserved anything good. And now they've created a business together that thrives on taking advantage of all the resources, even when people don't think you deserve it, that it's like those resources are going to be there. So he essentially is the one that created the concept for this guild, and she's the one that is the brains behind it, essentially. Honestly, I've been rewatching The Dragon Prince. She sort of gives me a Maya vibes, if you know the show. I do know the show. I have not caught up with it. I think I've only seen half of season 2. Maybe it's definitely a show I need to recatch up with. I haven't been on Netflix because Netflix is so stupid because it doesn't allow password sharing. So I think I should be able to catch up with it. But yeah, so essentially she is the black cat energy to his golden retriever energy, where he, sees the best and takes advantage of what he can in a bad situation. And she is just kind of here to essentially, he saved her life. That's what it comes down to, is he saved her life when she thought she was worth nothing, and now is in the point that our party is going to interact with these characters, where it's she gives herself that love in very small ways, where he will always make sure to save any of the stuff that he scavenges or anybody that ever brings back, because that's his business, is that the people that work for this guild, that essentially the main business is you go out and scavenge, you bring stuff back. He's an artificer, he repurposes it, he refines it, rebuilds it, whatever, and then sells those things. But whenever he comes across anything that anybody scavenged that's little rings or jewelry or accessories, he always makes sure to let her look through those things first, because she has this kind of quiet cat energy of liking little shiny things, and it's something that only he is really aware of. Where it's he has this little matching earring with her, because it's I want it to be that obvious, but well, honestly, I want it to be a kind of subtle detail of showing these characters to my players, and them kind of clicking that it's he builds really fancy and cool shit, but he dresses very simple, because he's not really someone that really cares about appearances, and is more someone that cares about efficiency and something that allows him to have a good workflow. And that she's the one that actually has a really bougie taste and loves the finer, prettier, cooler things. And I'm going to have these prosthetics be something that looks really intricate and designed and stuff like that, so that way when my players start to interact with them more, that kind of character detail between them, that she's actually the one that likes the finer things and is very upholds her appearance in a very high regard, but ultimately is because he is there to kind of be her hype man, and has relit her sense of self-value because of when they and how they met. Honestly, been watching. Oh yeah, I love Amaya. I love mute characters in ASL so much. Ooh, I didn't even think about making her a mute character. That might be an interesting. Ooh, that actually could be a really cool character detail if I did that for her. I know for a fact I'm going to make her, if she does speak, that it's going to be something where she is very, like, almost like very tonally deaf, as far as like she doesn't have any emphasis within the way that she speaks. She's not a very like enthused speaker or a very emotional speaker, but I'm going to have it almost that her, like, when she starts to let her guard down and trust people, that her face, like, that she has very expressive like eyes and ears, and but very very subtly until she gets comfortable around people, which is right now, as far as the narrative goes, she is only, those things only barely show up when she's around him, because now that there's a business and there's a lot more people around, she still tries to mask that, but whenever anybody manages to catch it, just them by themselves, where she doesn't realize someone else is there, she's actually a pretty, like, fairly expressive body language wise, but tends to keep it pretty concealed. So that's kind of the concept I have for these two characters, is that he is the more chaotic good, eccentric one as far as his language and his loudness, as far as his outgoing character and expression, and she's the exact opposite. But yeah, I'm super duper excited to have these more established as characters and build a really cool just a really cool campaign, because right now I'm just getting the reoccurring NPCs like figured out. Just because I'm going to run this campaign essentially where every session is going to be its own one shot, and whoever shows up are characters that I've already established them, like, hey, your characters work for this guild, work with this guild, whatever. And so whenever you show up, it's literally going to be a new little commission or a new little quest that they have you sent on that is going to get wrapped up within the session. So that way, every time anybody shows up, it'll be something where it's like, you're just the people that happen to be there. And it'll be cool to see the character interactions between my players, of like them updating each other on stuff that happened, because it's like, I'm going to start like using a lot more of the stuff that I've collected over the years. As far as like I have so much like cards for like magic items and creatures and stuff like that. But yeah, so what time is it? It's 4:18. I'm gonna go take a quick bathroom break, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, we good. Okay. What was I saying? But anyway, yeah, these are just two of the. Welcome back. Thank you. But yeah, these are just the two characters that I want to have well established, because they're the ones that the party's going to be not reacting, but interacting with, I think, the most. Just because, she's essentially the manager, and he's just like the owner, because his main role within the realms of this guild is essentially taking all the stuff that any of the people that go out and get stuff and bring it back to their little guild headquarters. He takes all that stuff and repurposes it so that way they have a form of like passive income. Like their guild has a form of passive income, so that way they can pay like their cook, which that's another thing too. I do want to, what was it? I want to get written down her name real quick. And for the life of me, I can't remember it, but I'm going to pull it up real quick. Let me pull that up. What is it? Nope. It's in my Google Drive. Because I made... There we go. Okay. No, not don't be an ASMR. Spells and scraps. Yeah. What is it? Zabagel. Right. Or Z, as Soren likes to call her, and only Soren gets to call her that. Gel. Oop, hold on. Yeah. Zabagel. The Drow. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to give her a class, just that she has the ability to fight with spears and throwing knives. And then I also had ideas for other characters and NPCs within this guild. I want to do, what is it? So yeah, so we have our Knoll Artificer, we have our Drow Manager. I wanted to do, this is just the ideas for the positions. I don't even have like character concepts really finited yet for those, but yeah, so we want to do an Orc Cook on site as well. Oh, it's a bit large writing. So yeah, I want to design an Orc Cook, a human bartender. No, Tiefling, right? Tiefling bartender. Tiefling. Yeah. Tiefling bartend. We'll just say keep to keep it simple. Barkeep. A Kuatoa. Not a Kuatoa. A few Kuatoa janitors. Because I think that'd be so silly to have those guys running around. Depending on how large I want, a large scale I want this guild to be, it'll be something that janitors, and what was the last thing? Oh yeah, a Darrow repairman. Darrow. Oh. Repair man. Yeah. Yeah. Those are the other roles in the guild that I want to create more character concepts for. Oh yeah, and then let me turn this back on for her clothes. And then her hands. Perfect. Yeah, cool. But yeah, honestly, I could probably, what do I have? I have, 5 more minutes. Let's just come up with some character name. Well, no, because I want to look up what the names are for these different species. But yeah, so these are the other roles that I want to fill and design character concepts for, because this is our boss man here. And boss lady. Yeah. Cool. But yeah, I mean, I got 2 character designs just about done. I'll obviously want to create these, or like, what is it? Not render, but finish illustrating these so I have a image that I can show to my players once the time comes to actually play. And then I'll create some more concepts for all of these guys. I think I'll have, how many janitors would you need? We'll say we'll do 3 of these guys. We'll do 3 Kuatoa janitors, little guys. Yeah, and then the tiefling, because these two I know for sure, the orc and the tiefling are, because they're going to work in the respective same area, in like the little eatery area, the area where everybody can get food from the guild itself. And with the orc being green, I guess a good pairing color with that would probably be, would I want it to be more analogous colors or contrast? Because I could have the orc be like a lighter, like a lighter spring green, and have her, the tiefling, be more like a deep emerald or jade green. That might be nice to have the two of them be kind of similar colors. Because I definitely want those two being buddies. Or even like a duo that was hired together. Something like that. Because I want to, yeah, I definitely want to have this be, I want to develop this in a way that the world is living and develop the stories that way, and all that fun stuff. But I'll probably do more of that on stream next week. Or if I find some time this weekend to do another bonus stream, I'll hop on and do some of that. But yeah, so the stuff I'm probably going to be streaming is some more D&D stuff and D&D like concept work for my campaign. But I think we got to a pretty good point. What else can I do? Because we still got 3 more minutes left, so I can kind of just kick it. And then viewership was up decently for this stream, which makes me happy because that means we're one step closer to hitting affiliate. The last step, you know, that's literally it, is just getting a good average viewership up, which I think we hit like 4 or 5 average viewership for this stream on its own. Haha. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for sticking around, Manamusa, or anybody else that's in the viewership that's just kind of been lurking. I will definitely be back on it. Again, I'm sorry for missing my stream last week, but I will definitely try to be on it these upcoming weeks. And then if I am going to stream again this week, I think it'll probably end up being on Sunday that I'll try to do a bonus stream. I'll post on my Blue Sky, and I'll try to post. I gotta remember I also can post, like Twitch has like stories now. So if anything, I can always try and do some Twitch story posting to announce whenever I'm doing another bonus stream this week. But if not, you can definitely find me next week on Wednesday, and then that'll also give me time to look at my work schedule is next week. But we recently had a person let go, so I have a feeling I'm probably gonna end up working more, but we shall see. Either way, this was a very successful stream. I'm very happy with the position I got to within planning for my D&D campaign, and I'm very excited to show off more of that fun stuff. But yeah, again, thank you for anybody and everybody that's still here and everybody that has watched today. And then I am going to go ahead. Oh, you know what? Oh, I'm so glad I remembered this too. Hi, very happy. Are you related to Happy by any chance? I don't know if, okay, I do want to try something because I don't know if I have to wait till I'm an affiliate. How to raid on Twitch, because I want to try raiding. Let me check who's live real fast, because I don't know if I have to wait until I am, yeah, okay, let's see. How to raid. All right, /raid followed by, okay, let's see. Let's try this. Okay, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to do my first little raid. I always forget to do this by the time I end stream. So I do have a couple of you in here, so we're going to go ahead and raid. Let me see who's live that I follow. Frog Glasses is live. Okay, we'll raid Frog Glasses. Let's do that. All right, let's try this. So /raid frog _glasses. Did that work? Let's see how this works. Let's see. People might have their raids off. Ooh. Maybe. Let's see. I don't know. They usually do I have to press space to raid? Frog. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. I don't feel like they should have their raids off. Is it underscore? Or is it? Yeah, it's underscore. Let's see. Raid. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, I found the option. I can do that super duper easy. Oh, hey, Yo Oni is online. Oh, there's actually a ton of people online right now. Okay, you know what? We're gonna send you guys over to Yo Oni. They are such a cool creator. That's starting to develop a lot of really cool stuff for their own like they've got like a really cool like stream project thing that they're working on right now. It seems like they're working on some poster design for the dance crew that they either are with or they just do a lot of artwork for. They're super duper chill. So we're gonna send you guys over there. So we'll do that. All right. So yeah, my first raid. So have some fun over there. Good vibes. All right. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for everybody sticking around here. Gonna send you over there now and have a wonderful rest of your day.